So, um, like maybe we perhaps the way I'm gonna so I mean, just maybe if we this is how I'm gonna start my presentation. Does that ring any bells? You're starting your presentation, or through your presentation, you add loads of like maybe, so filler words. Oof. What do we do with those little suckers? We've all been there thinking, man, if I could only just reduce the number of filler words, then it would probably level up my game in terms of communication. And quite honestly, you're right, and that's what this video is all about. We're going to talk about the difference between what you hear and are conscious of and what your audience hears and tunes into. And unfortunately, it's not very pretty. And so then at the end, you're going to learn some tricks to get rid of those fillers. So here's the thing. I want you to think about the last time you were trying to go to sleep and before you were going to bed, you heard a clock ticking and you thought, oh my goodness, I'm never going to be able to get to bed because this thing is going to drive me insane. Well, what ended up happening soon after that? Well, you got used to it, or in auditory terms, you habituated, and 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, you're snoozing into la la land. What happened? Your brain learned, oh, you don't have to pay attention to that. It's a recurring sound that's repetitive. Don't even worry about it. That's not relevant. Just tune it out. And that's how you were able to get to bed. Brilliant. But here's the thing. The reason why you want to get rid of your filler words, because that's exactly what your brain is doing when you use filler words. It now no longer notices them at all. If you've ever watched a video of yourself and then found yourself thinking, do I really say that much? Yes, you absolutely do, but you've just stopped noticing it because you say it so much, your brain has habituated and realized, oh, that's a non-word. Don't even pay attention. It is now treating it like background noise and filtering it out. But here's the thing. You and your audience have different brains. And what happens in their brain is very different from what happens to yours. They have not habituated to your filler words. So what happens is actually the opposite. Your brain is constantly looking for contrast and outliers. So when your audience hears, so I just want to tell you about the fact that in this presentation, I'm going to be speaking about what is it going to pick up on? All of the ums that are out of place. And instead of habituating, it's going to think, oh, this is detracting from what the person is actually saying. And it's going to become very irritating very fast. What is happening in their brain is that an area called the reticular activating system, which filters what to pay attention to and what not to, is signaling off the chart that there's something out of the ordinary, out of the ordinary, out of the ordinary every time you use this filler word. And so I want you to notice the fact that your brain tunes it out, the audience's brain pays attention to it. Not a good combination. What ends up happening is that their attention on your filler words is so high that they're actually not even listening to your content anymore because they're so distracted by how often you use those fillers. Not good. Because what ends up happening is that they're actually tracking your hesitation rather than the point itself. Example. So, what we're trying to do is we're trying to improve the system so that we can get people to adhere to the policies of this company. Versus, we're trying to improve the system to increase compliance. You get the picture. One sounds uncertain, the other sounds deliberate, intentional, and like the person knows what they're doing. And this is how you go from an unconscious speaker to a deliberate communicator. That's the kind of impression you want to leave when you speak. The reality is you cannot change what you are not aware of. Right now, your unconscious habits, they are super visible to your listeners and they're invisible to you. And we want to change that. So how do you do that? The very first is, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, record yourself. If you are not aware of what you do, then it is imperative that you go back and you look and see, how exactly do I sound? What exactly are the words that I am using? You then are able to go from unconscious awareness to conscious awareness, and then you are able to do something about it. That's the first. Another step in this is to actually transcribe what you say word for word. You can use tools online once you record yourself to write down what you say word for word. Many of them, caveat, are going to remove the filler words, but that's exactly what you don't want. You want to see how many times you use them so that you can take steps to eliminate them. Those are two things you can do. The third, actually has to do with focusing in on exactly what you want to say. Sometimes the hesitation comes not even from unconscious awareness, but the fact that we are actually not that clear on what we want to say. And therefore, the hesitation makes sense. If you don't know the direction you want to go in, it's more likely that you're going to hesitate when you say it. And so, by being crystal clear on what the point is you are trying to make, your hesitation is going to go down, and so are your filler words. Be crystal clear about the message you want to convey, and then by so doing, you will be able to convey that message more clearly. Do those three things intentionally, and it will astound you how quickly your filler words will be reduced and how sensitive you will be to them in order to make that change to go from the person who's umming and erring and eyeing and so maybe like ing. You'll go from that to the person who is sharp, who is clear, and who people remember and want to listen to. Let me know how you get on with that.